CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League is sponsored by Oldsmobile, who invite you to see the new 1982 Oldsmobile at your Olds dealer today. K-Care, where quality automotive parts and service are Kmart priced. And by Atari.
Away here at Shea Stadium from the start of the second half. There is Lynn Dickey, who has had somewhat of a cold hand in the first half. The Packers able to muster up only 3 points, and that came in the second quarter. Meanwhile, the Jets, with 7 points early in the first quarter, came back with 14 in the second quarter, and they are leading handily 21-3. And Richard Todd has had a reasonably good day, 9 for 17, 130 yards. He's thrown 1 interception, but he's also thrown 1 touchdown pass, and that was a beauty to Lam Jones.
Yeah, really was right on the money, and he's going to continue to enjoy great success in the second half from a passing standpoint if he continues to get the same kind of pass protection that he got in the first half. Green Bay must start to blitz more, do more things to put pressure on the quarterback. He has too much time to throw.
So Green Bay will be kicking off, and the Packers leading desperately to come back in the second half. The Jets will have Kurt Sohn along with Bruce Harper. Hardly any breeze at all, and of course when you come to Shea Stadium this time of the year, you really worry about wind being a factor, but it has not been at all. Stenerud kicks it off, a low kick. Bruce Harper makes the reception at the 12, to the 20, 25, and hit and dropped it about the 26-yard line, and that's where the Jets will put it in play, 1st and 10. And Wetzel, that's the middle linebacker, Marty Wetzel, a rookie from Tulane, banged up. You might remember the emotional play he made on the tackle of Mike McCoy on the fumble kickoff. Here are the numbers for the first half, and the total yardage, of course, 4 times as much for the Jets over the Pack.
We talked about it earlier, and of course the stats illustrate what we just said about the New York Jets dominating the game from an offensive standpoint and defensive standpoint, and they're doing it with their front 4 on defense and their front 5 on the offense. The offensive line of Chris Ward, Rasmussen, Fields, Alexander, and Powell have really done a super job here in the first half.
Powell and Ward, the tackles, are referred to by Walt Michaels as his bookends. Ward has been here 4 years and Powell 5. Powell made All-Pro this year, and Michaels said they're bookends that should be here for 10 years. Meanwhile, in the middle is an All-Pro, Joe Fields, flanked by the veteran, number 66, Randy Rasmussen. Rasmussen, 15 years with the club. Joe Klecko, who has had a bruised foot, hurt it and left early in the first half to have it x-rayed, but then returned and rejoined the game. He was right in the middle of things when time ran out. So Klecko as well, and Marty Wetzel banged up on that kickoff. Here's a comparison of the quarterbacks, Hank.
Yeah, Dickey's completed 5 of 11 for just 47 yards, and Richard Todd 9 of 17 for 130 yards, and of course the big strike to Lam Jones right before the half, a beautiful play, a long strike right down the sideline over the top with the defensive back Mark Lee, and it looked like Mark Lee mistimed the jump a little bit prematurely, and that's why the ball was able to sail over his head like it did.
Marty Wetzel, small consolation to him, the plaudits of the crowd, but better than that, he got some applause and a pat on the back from his teammates. Richard Todd came over to holler something to him. The rookie bangs his left knee and has to leave. The Jets with a lot of work to do. It's the start of the second half. 1st and 10 on the Jets 26, and they lead 21-3. Newton and McNeil, the running backs. Lamb is right and Walker is left. And it'll be Tom Newton. And Newton carries out to about the 30-yard line, maybe to the 31. He'll have to get out to the 36. Meanwhile, New Orleans leading San Francisco 14-7. George Rogers having a big day, and we understand Rogers is on his way, if he has not already broken Otis Anderson's rookie mark of rushing last year.
2nd and 6.
There's Mark Gastineau, the left end of the sack exchange. From the 30-yard line. Todd on a second down. 2nd and 6, and it's knocked down, and it was Mike Douglas, number 53, who went up in the air to hammer it down.
And it looked like Douglas was blitzing on the play, and in the process made a leaping attempt and knocked the ball down. A good play by Mike Douglas, number 53, who came into the game with 8 sacks.
Douglas is an even 6, so he really had to climb a ladder to get up there, but he did. They'll spot the ball again at the 30, where it is 3rd down and 6 yards to go for New York. Lamb Jones and Wesley Walker in a slot left. Both backs release. Todd on his own, and he has plenty of time, and he throws behind Harper and Mike Douglas right there. So Bruce Harper had a lead on Douglas. Dickey, and for Richard Todd, he couldn't get there.
Yeah, Mike Douglas was going back into the hook area, number 53, never saw where the ball was coming from, and actually the ball hit him in the shoulder pads, hit him in the back. Look at all the time he has to throw the ball, delivers it downfield, hits him in the back. Really didn't hit him in the back, almost hit him right in the face.
Right. So on a 4th and 6 from the 30, Chuck Ramsey will be punting for New York. Mark Lee and Fred Nixon are deep for Green Bay. And it's a high popped up punt that will hit on the 40 and be picked up by Nixon, who is hit as he touched the ball. And let's see who recovered it. It's going to be New York. Fred Nixon muffed that. He never really had any kind of control or possession. And coming out of the bottom of that pile with the ball is John Woodring, a rookie out of Brown, number 57.
He really never has control. He gets hit right about the time he's trying to bring the ball back into his possession, and fumbles the ball, loses it, and the Jets have possession on the plus 35.
So 1st and 10 on the Packer 35. So actually, they just picked up from their own 30 to the Packer 35 on that play. 1st and 10. Todd looking left and throwing low behind Wesley Walker. Among other things, it's pretty tough to get a grip on the football now in the second half. The field in shadow, and remember, it was 26 degrees when the game started.
It looked like Todd really kind of hurried himself that time. He tried to get the ball outside on a square out pattern to Walker, number 85, but I think threw it prematurely, and for that reason really wasn't set. Didn't throw it with his legs that time as well as his follow through, and threw it poorly on the play.
And you can see the 49ers have tied it up with New Orleans. Meanwhile, it is 2nd and 10 on the Packer 35. And it's a draw. Freeman McNeil inside the 30. Finally collared at the last minute by Terry Jones. And he drives inside the 30 to the 28-yard line. That'll make it 3rd and 3 from the 28.
The Jets have really had more of an opportunity to open up their attack because they've had much better field position than the Green Bay Packers, and they're doing a good job of mixing the run and the pass and moving the football against Green Bay.
Bruce Harper comes in there now along with Durking. As you can see, Chicago leading 21-3. 3rd and 3 from the 28. And it'll be Durking. And Durking going to be stacked up at about the 25. Not quite enough for the first down. He needs less than a yard. So it'll be 4th down and less than a yard by the time they unscramble.
That was kind of a counter play, a misdirection play. It looked like they were trying to sell the defense on the idea they were going to go right. Gave the ball to Durking coming back to the left side, and he's just inches short of the first down.
So it is 4th and less than a yard at the 25, and the crowd roars when the running backs come in. Pat Leahy stands on the sidelines. Durking and Long are the running backs out of the eye. And on a sneak, Richard Todd, first down. That's the 30th time that Todd has carried the ball this year. So Pat Leahy can relax for a little while on the sidelines as the Jets pick up a first down. on the Packer 23.
Well, did you see the big surge that time right up the middle again for Richard Todd to carry the quarterback sneak? That offensive line has really been outstanding.
All he had to do is to follow Joe Fields and Dan Alexander, and the first down was his. 1st and 10 from the 23. Play action fake by Todd. Going in the end zone to Wesley Walker. No good. Wesley Walker couldn't hold on to it.
Watch Walker. He releases off the line of scrimmage. McCoy is covering. He makes a little move to the outside. Outside, does a little step, and then breaks up the field. The ball is thrown inside. He kind of stops to come back for the ball. I don't know how he dropped it, but he did. The ball was right on the money. It just looked like it went right on through and falls incomplete.
Wesley Walker has caught 8 touchdown passes this year, so it is 2nd and 10 from the 23.
They double cover the outside people. If they throw, the tight end or a back should be open.
Long is releasing, and Todd deep in the end zone, no good. In fact, the closest man to it was Mark Murphy, who's already had 1 interception today for Green Bay. 3rd and 10 from the 23.
Well, he got the ball in the right area. They were double covering the outside receivers. They were very deep. The vulnerable area was the middle, but he didn't throw it well enough for Harper to make the catch.
As far as the running game is concerned, Freeman McNeil has averaged 4 yards a carry, 13 carries for 52 yards. Todd has thrown the ball 22 times, and he has a 3rd and 10 from the 23. Bruce Harper all alone in the backfield now, with Gaffney and Walker left, Lamb Jones right. And he's going to Lamb Jones, no reception. Jones, you remember, was at the other end of that picture book 55-yard touchdown pass near the end of the 2nd quarter. And now Pat Leahy will be called in. Leahy has missed a 33-yard field goal effort today. He's 20 of his last 25, however.
John Anderson, the left linebacker that time, number 59, really did a good job of getting depth on the play and helped on the coverage underneath.
Pat Ryan holding at the 30, and the 40-yard field goal attempt is up and never gets there. In fact, his longest was 49. So Pat Leahy, cold hands and a cold foot on that one, but it is still the Jets 21 and Green Bay 3.
It contains the same information.
Don't forget, the playoffs begin next Sunday right here on CBS Sports, the wild card game. Philadelphia has already clinched a wild card, and they're breezing. And, of course, it'll go right on through to that big day for Super Bowl 16 at the Silver Dome in Pontiac, Michigan. All here on CBS Sports. Holy mackerel, is he warm. 1st and 10 on the Packer 23-yard line. Ellis and Huckleby behind Dickey. And Dickey's going to release it to Ellis. Nobody out there to help him but green shirts, and they knock him out of bounds at the 34-yard line. Just about enough for the first down. So Dickey picking up his first down. Trying to generate some kind of an offense. You can see the numbers. He hasn't had many cards to deal today.
One thing he has to do, he has to be very patient and take what the defense gives him, move the ball down the field. There's plenty of time, but he's got to make something happen.
Well, they picked up 11, 1st and 10 from the 34. And Dickey going to release to Ellis, going the other side this time, and Ellis to the 40, and is pushed out of bounds by Greg Buttle almost at the 45-yard line. We talked about Philadelphia, the definite wild card team. Let's check and see what they're doing. Boy, they're pulling the tail feathers out of the Cardinals, 28-0 in the 3rd quarter. Ball out at the 43-yard line of the Pack. So it is 2nd down and about a yard and a half for a first down. Huckleby is behind Ellis. Jefferson right and Lofton left. And Dickey is going to go to Ellis. What a hit. And And the man who hit him is Abdul Salam, number 74. That name in Arabic translates into soldier of peace. But boy, there was nothing peaceful about that hit, Hank.
No, there really wasn't. And I don't think people have the understanding of what a great job those two inside people, the right tackle and left tackle, Salam and Lyons, both of whom are excellent defensive tackles, put a lot of inside pressure on the rush. And for that reason, Gastineau and Klecko have a better opportunity on the outside. But those two tackles really do a good job.
So it is 3rd and 1 from the 43, almost the 44. They need inches, really, for a first down. They'll go to Ellis, and he slips through. It looked like they were going to stack him up, and he lowered his head and got through to pick up the first down as he crossed the 45-yard line. They'll spot it at the 46.
I really don't know how he got through that seam that time. It looked like they stacked him up pretty well, but he did a good job of running and popped through there for the necessary yardage for the first down. Good job by the left tackle, Konkar. Kitson also doing a pretty good job, but he did a good job of running, just read the block and popped inside the seam.
You know, Honkar was out with a hyperextended knee, but he's back in there and is just through a good block. And Dickey throwing down the middle, intended for Paul Kaufman, and Greg Buttle was right there with him. So the big tight end shut out on that one.
Greg Buttle.
There's the pressure again. You see Gastineau going inside, getting caught inside. He throws the ball right down the middle in a beautiful play. A beautiful play by Buttle, number 51.
Here's Mark Gastineau. He and Joe Klecko are the ends, with Salam and Lyons in the middle of the New York sack exchange. 2nd and 10 on the Packer 46. Dickey's going to be swallowed up at the 40-yard line, and look at Gastineau again. Marty Lyons, number 93, appeared to be the man who's going to get credit for the sack. Number 93, by the way, was such a good athlete. He was All-State in baseball. The New York Mets were interested in him, but instead he winds up with the Jets. He's still pitching. So it's 3rd and 16 from the 40-yard line. And Dickey's going down again.
They've got to, they must. I'm talking about Green Bay. They've got to slow the rush down. They've got to run some traps. They ran a trap early in the game, made good yardage on it. They haven't come back to it since that time. They've got to run some screens. They've got to run some draws, but they can't continually go back into the pocket because they just can't take care of that defensive line. The surge has been outstanding for the New York Jets.
Joe Klecko limping slightly. He's playing on a bad foot. Ray Stakowicz punting from his own 20-yard line, and Bruce Harper is standing back on the Jets' 25-yard line. So the Packers have been thoroughly shut down by the New York defense. They have picked up only 3 points. Stakowicz gets it away. It's going to hit the ground in front of Harper. He'll take it at the 25. And Harper is tripped up and a flag on the play. The man I think who tripped him is Darrell Ray, number 28, his own man. Ray was trying to come back and help out and block, and they said he tripped him, and we'll see about the interpretation of the flag from Fred Silva.
And I think the clip really, I thought Al Washington possibly was involved in the two, Ben. We'll see what they call.
Okay. We have a moment, Hank. Do you think that the Pack has any kind of a spread formation or a shotgun to try and slow down the defensive rush of New York?
Well, that won't slow it down very much. I think when you go into the spread formation, Ben, you better have a quarterback back there who can move by design, has good escapability skill. Dickey does not have that ability, and it wouldn't
52
be
on the run back, blocking above the waist, refused. 77, personal foul, post possession, accepted.
So you had Al Washington flipping as the ball was still in the air, and then you had a post possession foul against Kenny Neal. penalty before the change of possession is declined, and the post-possession foul is accepted. So the Jets are pushed back to their own 14-yard line, with the Jets leading Green Bay 21-3, 8:28 left in the third quarter. Detroit and Tampa Bay all locked up 10-10 in the third quarter as they battle it out for the Central Division Championship. Meanwhile, here in New York, the New York Jets leading the Green Bay Packers 21-3. Not only are the Jets trying to win and have a playoff berth, but should they win and beat Green Bay, the Giants will get a berth. First and 10 from the Jets 13. And it'll be Tom Newton, and Newton running into people at the 15-yard line. Chicago leading Denver 21-10 in the third quarter. The time left in ours plenty. 8 minutes 11 seconds left in the third as we look inside the Green Bay defensive huddle, particularly Mike Douglas. Second and 7 from the 16-yard line. And they'll go to Kevin Long. And Long cutting back on his own, still on his feet, and out to the 29-yard line. Great cutback play by Kevin Long to pick up additional yardage. First down.
He does a good job. The defense overreacts, over pursues. Watch the good blocking at the point of attack on the backside. Goes against the grain. Does a good job of running. Runs right through number 23 Harvey and picks up a gain and a first down on the play. Beautiful job by Kevin Long.
On the Jets 29 now, you have Derek Gaffney coming over into a slot left to join Wesley Walker on that side. They stay on the ground to Kevin Long, and this time he gets back to the line of scrimmage and picks up a yard or two at most. An interesting game of two clubs who just can't wait for the year to be over. New England and Baltimore, and New England leading Baltimore 14-10 in the second quarter.
Boy, both could feel sorry for both coaches because really their teams are not that bad. They just have had a tough time all season long. Tough way to finish.
So from the 31, it is second and 8. Walker left and Lamb Jones right. Todd throwing low, and a good reception made by Bruce Harper at the 35-yard line. Kurt Alleman, number 60, tried to take a swipe at the ball, but Harper stayed with it.
Walker is occupying a halfback position, number 42, coming out of the backfield. He comes into the game with a lot of catches. Here again, look at all the time he has to throw the football. The ball is thrown a little bit low, but he makes the catch. Bruce Harper, number 42.
He went to high school with John Travolta. With a couple of games like this, Travolta will be saying he went to high school with Harper.
Yeah.
So it is 3rd and 3 from the 36. And Todd just gets it away to Harper. And Harper dragged down at the 48-yard line by John Anderson. So Bruce Harper from Englewood, New Jersey, having a big day over here at Shea.
And he came into the game with 49 catches, and he's doing a good job of catching them again this afternoon.
So he carries it out to the Jets' 48-yard line. Remember, because of the penalty, the Jets started on their own 13. But the Jets have been able to hold the ball against Green Bay. One of their scoring drives took 20 plays from their own 10-yard line. Lamb Jones and Wesley Walker on the left. Second man, Freeman McNeil, tries to hide and get through, but the Packers pick him off.
Walker and Jones anchored on the left side that time in a slot formation. Had 1-for-1 coverage, had a big cushion, a lot of room. They have the same defense. They would not be surprised to see him throw the ball back over here because they should be able to make some yardage on the play.
So on a 2nd and 10 from the Jets 48, here come Walker and Lamb Jones again. Todd, however, going to Freeman McNeil, and McNeil to the 40 and goes to the 36. Mark Murphy had him by the ankle, or he was going to fly for another 20 or maybe even go all the way.
You know, that time they had 3-on-2 on the outside people. Look at Rasmussen pulling on the play. A beautiful hole. Number 33, Kevin Long, going through the hole. Good running by McNeil. Sees daylight, goes through the cavity, goes through a pile, comes out the other end, and makes another big first down for the New York Jets.
He picked up 16 yards on the carry, and the Jets have it 1st and 10 on the Packer 36-yard line. Jones and Walker in a slot right this time.
Look at the room on the right side.
And Todd is going to go over there to Wesley Walker, and he can't hold on to it. Mark Lee gives him a good bump, and he can't hold on. Mark Lee from a big family, 6 brothers and 5 sisters, so you know how to elbow his way.
He got to fight his way to the table.
And now. So it is 2nd and 10 from the 36. The Jets leading 21-3, 3:39 left in the 3rd quarter. Walker and Jones going right this time. Kevin Long and Bruce Harper, and Harper grabbed from behind by Cumbie and from the ankles by Douglas, and that's the end of that trip.
Kevin Long, number 33, trying to make a block, missed the block on the play, and for that reason, Harper was not able to make as much yardage as he would have.
So it is 3rd and 10 from the 36-yard line of Green Bay. 21-3 New York. 3:14. It's been a hard day for Mike Douglas and the rest of the Packer defensive squad, but the offense just hasn't given him anything to work with. 3rd and 10 from the 36 of Green Bay.
Got another situation where something in the middle or one of the backs should be open.
Both backs release. The pass to the right side is overthrown, intended for Bruce Harper, with Mike Douglas picking him up.
Harper's got an option. He has an option to run an inside course or an outside course, depending on how the linebacker plays. That time he elected to go outside. He was really wide open. The ball was thrown way out in front, incomplete. But that's what his responsibility is on that play.
Chuck Ramsey is number 1 in the AFC in kicking the ball out of bounds inside the 20. In fact, he has kicked 26 of his 77 punts inside the 20. That's exactly what he wants to do right now. In case you're wondering, Craig Colquitt tied with him, and Cliff Parsons is the leader.
He's on the right hand. Oh, excuse me, Ren. Go ahead.
I was going to say, Lee and Nixon are the deep men. Go ahead, Hank.
He's on the right hash mark, and if he tries to kick the ball out of bounds, he ought to try to kick it to his left. Or he might try to kick it up in the air, hit an elevator ball, and hope that it'll be down inside the 10-yard line.
Well, we see now Randy Scott talking to Fred Silva. It might very well be a delay of game penalty, and they're going to decline it. That's what it looks like. They're gesturing, shall we turn it down or not?
Delay. New York. Yardage. Refuse.
The Packers, of course, trying to cut down the real estate, making that OB kick a little bit tougher rather than giving the luxury. But look now where Ramsey is backing up anyway. He's going to be kicking from his own 47. Mark Lee 22. Fred Nixon 84, standing back on the Packer 10.
And they're standing there for a specific reason. They know if the ball comes right to them at that area, they'll catch it. If not, they'll let it bounce into the end zone, hopefully.
And Ramsey from midfield without a shoe. And he kicks it deep, and it is going to hit and go in the end zone. So Ramsey, who started kicking without a shoe in 1979, could not kick a poached egg. Instead, it goes on into the end zone, and the Packers will take it over 1st and 10 on their own 20-yard line. We have 2:45 left in the 3rd quarter. Jets 21 and the Packers 3. As you can see, the New York Jets, with 5 sacks today, giving them 62, trail Oakland as the all-time sackingest team in NFL history. And for the Packers, trying to generate something now. 1st and 10 from their own 20-yard line. Huckabee and Ellis are behind Lynn Dickey. Kaufman, the tight end, as a wing, staying in to block. They're going to throw to Kaufman, and he's grabbed by Salam, and then Gastineau, and that'll be that.
Good response again by the defense of the New York Jets. Gastineau coming on the inside, dumps the ball out to the tight end, Hoffman, but a good response there again by Salam, who makes the play.
So on a pass to the tight end, they actually lose 6.5 yards. The ball is back on at the 12-yard line. Dickey down the middle, and it's too low for Lofton to make the reception. And sliding in just in case was Lance Mel. Dickey now has completed 8 for 16 for 59 yards, 1 interception. He's been sacked 5 times and has been throwing like a man under the gun.
They put a lot of pressure on him. He doesn't have enough time really to anchor, to set up, and then step and throw. He's throwing some of the balls falling away. The footing has not been very good for him either. He seemed to be insecure as far as the footwork is concerned, and for that reason he hasn't thrown well.
So on a 3rd and 18 from the 12, Huckleby and Ellis. Dickey over the middle, no good. Paul Kaufman, and it was Greg Buttle again, number 51, right there to defend. And a thoroughly frustrated Bart Starr looks on.
And of course, the Jets have been playing with 5 defensive backs.
So now Marty Lyons, along with Gastineau and other members of the sack exchange, go over and take a moment's respite. Bruce Harper standing back on the Jets 48, and Ray Stackowitz standing in the end zone. Kurt Alleman will be the fullback to block for him, and Bill Whitaker, number 30, is the wideout on the right side, trying to get downfield. Good snap. Low line drive kick that's going to hit at the 40. Down there is Ron Cassidy and Jim Jensen, and Cassidy will down it at the 42-yard line. And the Jets are in great field position. Everything else is going their way. They're leading 21-3 with 1:38 left in the 3rd quarter. On Donner, on Blitzen, on Gastineau, on Klecko. Santa Claus has come to Shea Stadium. 1st and 10 Jets on the Packer 42. Jones, Lamb Jones in motion to the right.
And Santa Claus has gone berserk.
Kevin Long hits at the 40 and drives to the 39. A pickup of 3. That'll make it 2nd and 7. Another score in that Chicago-Denver game upcoming. As you can see, Chicago having a big day, leading 28-10 in the 3rd quarter. Most recently, a 43-yard interception return by Al Harris of a Craig Morton pass. That's where the quarterbacks stack up today. 2nd and a long 7 from the 39. And it'll be Kevin Long on the draw, hit by Wingo, and still fought his way to the 35. So Rich Wingo hit him at about the line of scrimmage, but he broke the tackle and moved on. Very frustrating for number 50. Big game at the Silverdome in Pontiac involving Tampa Bay and Detroit. It is 10-10 at the start of the 4th quarter. Meanwhile, we're down to 32 seconds left in the 3rd, and here goes Bruce Harper trying for the 1st down, but he didn't get it. He was hit hard as he tried to cut back. The man who hit him was number 52, George Cumbie. There he is, 2 years out of Oklahoma. He was an All-American there. He had 2 knee injuries and was on injured reserve last year. And you can see time running out as far as the 3rd quarter is concerned. It is history here at Shea. So the end of the 3rd quarter, and the New York Jets 21, the Green Bay Packers 3, and the Giants getting closer.
Sports coverage of the National Football League is sponsored by Subaru, inexpensive and built to stay that way. Radio Shack, a division of Tandy Corporation. and by Light Beer. Everything you always wanted in a beer, and less.
So the start of the fourth quarter here at Shea Stadium, and the New York Jets leading handily 21-3, trying to maintain possession on a 4th and 2 from the Packer 34. Durking is in there with Bruce Harper. Play action fake, and look out as they blitz from the right side. Mike Douglas comes in to drop Todd, and that takes the first down away. On a 4th and 2, it is Mike Douglas coming in to hammer Richard Todd and getting the plaudits of the teammates.
Yes, I think Richard thought maybe he might be able to fake inside and keep it himself, but there was a blitz on Mike Douglas, 53. He guessed wrong, talking about the Jets. Green Bay guessed right, and they have possession on the 41.
Meanwhile, a great deal of interest in what transpires in Pontiac, and Tampa Bay is out in front, 13-10. A 30-yard field goal by Jim Capice. 1st and 10 for the Pack on their own 41. Dickey looking to the right side and throwing, no good. Intended for John Jefferson, defended by Jesse Johnson.
There's Jefferson going on the field, going inside a little bit, trying to get him to turn. Number 27 we're talking about. And he goes to the outside. Johnson working on Johnson. He comes back for the ball, and the ball hit him right in the face.
But you know, you have to remember too that Wesley Walker is legally blind in his left eye. He has a cataract, and he actually acted as if he lost that ball for the moment. So 2nd and 10 on the Packer 41. Dickey throwing down the left side, no good. So Lynn Dickey is 8 for 19 for 59 yards. Of course, those are cold statistics, and no pun intended. It didn't really tell the story.
And it's really amazing. You know, last week, of course, he threw 5 touchdown passes. He really has been a super quarterback. It's just been a tough day. That's all, period.
And a very tough day for Bart Starr and Steve Bartkowski. From the 41-yard line of the Pack, it is 3rd and 10. Dickey deep down the right to Lofton. No catch. He was out of bounds.
Intended for James Lofton, rolled out of bounds. Darrell Ray on the coverage. Fourth down.
Well, I think that picture of Lynn Dickey tells it all.
I tell you, he's a great competitor. He's been a great kid. He played his collegiate football for Kansas State University, and he was super there, and he's done a great job for the Packers.
Bruce Harper deep on the Jets 17-yard line, and Stackel's punting from the Pack 30-yard line. 21-3 New York. And he thumped that one. Fair catch for Bruce Harper at the 16-yard line. Ron Cassidy whizzing by, number 88. We'll be back with more of the Jets Green Bay game after this word from your local station.
This is CBS.
In the fourth quarter, with 14 minutes and 33 seconds left, the New York Jets scoring 7 in the first and 14 in the second, leading the Packers, who had a field goal in the second quarter, 21-3. And from all of us, a very Merry Christmas and happiest of New Year's to you. Here comes Freeman McNeil, and Mike Butler is on his back, and Big Mike brings him down. Dropped him at the 15-yard line. Another ball game to report on. That would be Chicago-Denver, 28-17. A 26-yard pass from Steve DeBerg to Rick Upchurch, accounting for Denver's recent score. Walt Michaels guiding his ball club from 0-3 to where they are within a grasp now of a playoff position. 12 from the 15. Second man, Freeman McNeil, and he buys a couple, and that's about all. And again, big Mike Butler, number 77, is right there in the middle of things.
You know, Dan Alexander, the right guard, he's 6'4", 260, played his collegiate football at LSU. Really doing a good job along with the offensive center, Joe Fields. But they work very well in concert with each other as far as assignments are concerned.
It's James Lofton taking a breather on the sidelines. 3rd and 10 from the 17. Harper and Durking in there behind Richard Todd. Mike Douglas leaping in the air, but the catch is made anyway by Jerome Barkham, crossing the 35-yard line and brought down by Anderson at about the 38. Mike Douglas looked like he was going to break up the play. Watch him on the right side leaping in the air.
You know, Richard, yeah, he does. He's blitzing on the play, but Todd stays in the pocket very, very well. Good composure. And they're here again, 2 receivers in the same spot. Lamb Jones, number 80, right over where Barkham is. But in spite of that, he still gets the ball to Barkham. He makes the reception, and they get out of the soup, so to speak, and they have a first down.
Todd now 12 for 28 for 168 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. And he has it 1st and 10 on the Jets' 37-yard line. In motion is Lamb Jones to join Walker on the left side. Second man is Freeman McNeil, and he loses the ball at the 40-yard line. And I believe the Pack has recovered. The man with the ball.
Straight ahead shot.
John Anderson.
Alexander blocking for him. The ball pops loose and is recovered by the Green Bay Packers.
Well, John Anderson picks off Freeman McNeil's 2nd fumble of the day. However, it is still 21-3 New York.
Update: the battle for the NFC Central in Detroit. Eric Hipple pulls out, and Leroy Selman comes in from behind. Hipple never saw him coming. He'll strip him of the ball. Logan scoops it up and goes in, and the Bucs now lead the Lions 20-10. Back to Vin Scully.
We have 12 minutes and 14 seconds left in the game. The Green Bay Packers' John Anderson has just recovered a Freeman McNeil fumble on the Jets' 40-yard line. The Jets leading 21-3. So the Packers in good field position with 12 minutes plus remaining. Lofton goes left. Jefferson goes right. Kaufman in a flex 3 yards away as the tight end. Huckleby staying in to block, and Dickey passing, no good. The closest man was John Jefferson, and he wasn't that close. In there with him was Donald Dykes defending.
I still like to see him run a trap, something to slow down that rush. They're coming off the ball very well, talking about the Jets, and they're flopping those ears back and coming after the quarterback. Must do something to slow him down.
Joe Klecko playing on that painful bad foot, but the big thing for the Jets, he's playing. And it is 2nd and 10 on the Jets' 40-yard line. Ellis staying in to help with the blocking, and the pass in and out of Lofton's hands with Dickey right there with him, and then it went right by Paul Kaufman. 5 sacks for New York today, and for Mark Gastineau, with his sack, he tied Jerry Philbin for the most sacks by a Jets player in 1 year, 19. The Packers trying to shake themselves. They have a 3rd and 10 from the 40-yard line of New York. That's Gary Lewis in motion. Kaufman, the tight end, is in to block, and Dickey is going to be escaping only for the moment. So they kept Kaufman back, number 82, to help with the blocking, and now Gastineau is limping, but they were still able to break through.
Yeah, they got good penetration again, and Klecko finally wound up making the tackle. But again, boy, they're putting tremendous pressure on the offensive line of the Green Bay Packers, and you have to give them a lot of credit for the kind of a job they've done. Watch. Here we see Klecko coming on the outside, number 73. Then he falls off and finally comes back in and makes a play. He's limping very noticeably, too. Klecko, I'm surprised that they keep him in the game.
And Gastineau was limping when he went out. And there's the punt. Coming over is Bruce Harper. The ball hits on the 15, and it will go out of bounds at the 12-yard line, and that's where the Jets will put it in play. But for Green Bay, totally shut down by a stubborn New York Jets defense. They have just been unable to generate any kind of an attack whatsoever. Dickey has passed for a total of 59 yards.
Yeah, that's really incredible. And a great compliment to the New York Jets defense.
Absolutely. With 11:25 left, 21-3 New York. Next Sunday, the playoff pressure begins right here on CBS Sports with the NFC Wild Card game, leading up to playoff games, eventually the championship game, and finally Super Bowl 16 from the Silverdome in Pontiac, Michigan, right here on CBS Sports. First and 10 Jets on their own 12-yard line. Lamb Jones in motion, picked up by Mark Lee, and here comes Durking, and Durking hit by Rich Wingo at the 10-yard line, and then Wingo got a lot of help. Interesting, we're talking about the sacks that the New York Jets have defensively today, and the Jets have a half a dozen sacks. What makes it interesting, the most sacks in one game by the Jets this year, 9, against the team they are inadvertently helping today, the New York Giants.
Second and 11.
No, it is second and 11 for Richard Todd. Todd down the middle, and the catch is made by Bobby Jones. And the ever-present Mike Douglas brings him down at the 29-yard line. But Bobby Jones, who did not go to a college, in fact, he's a kid who introduced himself to his teammates when each man would stand up and say his college. Bobby got up and said Texaco Tech.
There he goes and makes a move to the inside, slides and makes the catch, tries to get up and run with it, takes the ball out to the 29-yard line. Beautiful play by Bobby Jones.
So first and 10 on the 29. Wesley Walker wide right. Lamb Jones left along with Jerome Barkham, who was in motion. They set up a screen for Durking, and Durking still on his feet to midfield and takes a knock and goes out of bounds at the Packer 48-yard line. The Coke machine, Scott Durking, picks up the first down on the screen.
Durking really reminds me an awful lot of Mike Adamle, who played for us at Kansas City and also played for the New York Jets. Durking is a little heavier than Mike, but they play with the same abandon, same spirit, the same style of play.
He's 5'10", 220, 5 years out of Purdue. He was a 4th-round draft pick for the New York Jets back in '77. So first and 10 on the Packer 48. Kevin Long and Bruce Harper are in there, and Jerome Barkham, the tight end, is in motion. And it's a draw to Bruce Harper, beautifully read by Mike Douglas, who fought off Kevin Long's block. A fine play. Boy, that number 53, the Packers are losing, but he has turned in a gem.
Well, he's played terrifically well under adverse conditions. No question about that. Mike Douglas, number 53.
So they picked up 1 yard on the play. It'll be second down. Well, back at the, in fact, the ball is now at the Jets 49. So they lose 3. Make it second and 13. Barkham in motion this way. Todd unloading short to Wesley Walker, who's getting some heat too. George Cumbie, among others, coming.
Yeah, Cumbie was blitzing right up the middle, and Richard saw him coming and got rid of the ball just in time.
There's 9 minutes and 5 seconds left in the game. The Jets have thoroughly dominated the game. It all started, as far as Green Bay's problems, with a poor snap on the first punt. Stakowicz fielding the bad snap, tried to run with the ball, then tried to punt it on the run. The punt was blocked. The Jets went on to score, and New York has led ever since. You can see the conversions, 10-16 for Richard Todd and company. Todd deep down the right. Lamb Jones broken up. Mark Murphy, number 37, almost picked it off.
Yeah, they had a double coverage on Jones that time, and Richard did not see Mark Murphy, number 37, coming from the inside, deliver the ball up on top, and it was almost intercepted that time by Mark Murphy, number 37. Here again, the amazing thing is, really, all afternoon, he's had all the time in the world to throw the football, and he's thrown it extremely well. But the key is that he's had terrific pass protection all afternoon.
So now Chuck Ramsey, who was a quarterback in college at Wake Forest, will be doing the punting for New York. Mark Lee taking it at the 19-yard line, got away from Donald Dykes, slipped, however, and he's swallowed up. Donald Dykes, number 26, was the man who first hit him, and that caused him to stumble, and it ruined any comeback attempt. It's still 21-3 New York. Yeah. Again, as we mentioned earlier, a very Merry Christmas and the happiest of New Years for Hank and myself, for the award-winning technicians sending you this ball game, and for everybody at CBS Sports. Have a great one. 1st and 10 on the Packer 18-yard line. In motion is Gary Lewis. Little swing to Ellis, and Ellis is going to be hog-tied by Holmes, who dropped him at the 15-yard line. So Jerry Holmes, 2 years out of West Virginia, comes in. He was a free agent last year. Holmes gets his man.
You know, Green Bay came into the game with a very outstanding passing offense. They have not run very well. Coming into the game, 10 offensively, 12 with the run, 6 against the pass, but they've been kind of a one-dimension team. They haven't been able to do any running at all, and it's tough to win if you have to throw, and especially when you have to play catch-up football. In
fact, Ellis has rushed 10 times for only 28 yards. Huckleby twice for 2 yards, and that's the extent of it. 2nd and 13 from the 15. Dickey over the middle to Paul Kaufman, the tight end at the 25. He dropped the ball, and it is picked up by Springs, Kirk Springs, who's a nickelback out of Miami of Ohio. And it's Kurt who picks up the loose ball.
There you see Kaufman coming across the middle. The ball is right on the money. He makes the catch, tucks it away, runs upfield, and the ball slides right out, right down the side of his leg, and is finally recovered there by the New York Jets. Kirk Springs, number 45.
Now there's Paul Kaufman, pretty much down about things right now, understandably so. There's Kirk Springs, who is rather euphoric for the moment, coming up with the recovery. 1st and 10 for the Jets on the Pack 25-yard line. And now Todd zeroes in for the coup de grace. And Kevin Long carries it inside the 20. Mike Douglas on his back at the 17-yard line. And another visit to Brent Musburger here in New York.
Benny, Eric Hipple and the Lions were going in. He pulled out. He had Freddie Scott, who blew the catch, and Cedric Brown with his 2nd interception of the day. Still 20-10 Buccaneers. Back to you in Shea Stadium.
Oh, I can hear the moans and the groans in the Silver Dome right now. So it is 2nd down and about 4. The ball inside the 20 at about the 19-yard line. Todd to Kevin Long. Long didn't get enough for the 1st down. He has to get to the 15-yard line. But time is an ally of the Jets now. 7 minutes and down to 6:50. For Walt Michaels and the New York Jets, they are 6:50 away from turning an 0-3 team into a playoff team. And as you can see, it's been a big year for the NFC. They have handled the AFC exceptionally well.
You know, and talk about the Jets, I went out to watch them practice the other day, talked to Michaels after the practice session, and he talked about his team and said they just hope to be a fundamentally sound team this afternoon, to block, to tackle, to execute, and that's what they've done here this afternoon very, very well.
Kevin Long loses the ball, a pileup, and Green Bay has recovered, and I believe Mike Douglas, number 53, is down at the bottom of the pile. What a game he has played. There he is. The Packers might lose, but he is anything but a loser. Mike Douglas, great individual effort.
Yeah, he's done everything but line the field here this afternoon. He's really been a very, very outstanding performer.
So the Packers, after Kaufman's fumble, recover this fumble by Kevin Long, but the Jets, with 6:23 left in the game, leading 21-3. The last few minutes, it has become a game of turnovers. McNeil fumble, recovered by Anderson. Kaufman fumble, recovered by Springs. Long has just fumbled, recovered by Douglas. And the Pack has it 1st and 10 on their own 14-yard line. Dickey looking, swallowed up by Marty Lyons. When they tell me in high school, struck out 23 batters in 11 innings. Boy, he's pitching some kind of a one-hitter today.
Yes, yes, he is.
And for Lynn Dickey, he has suddenly become a catcher now. That's the 7th sack for New York. Dickey throwing for his life for Kaufman, and Dickey is on his back in the end zone with Marty Lyons on top of him again.
And I said it early, and I'll say it again, Lyons and Salam, they really have not gotten the recognition and credit they deserve, because they really put a lot of inside pressure on the offensive line and on the quarterback, and it's been very beneficial to Gastineau and Pleco, but those two guys are very outstanding.
So for Lynn Dickey, the Jets really giving them a bad time up front. Of course, this crew has given a lot of quarterbacks a bad time, and there they are. The sack exchange, Gastineau, Salam, Lyons, and Pleco. And it is a 3rd and 16. The ball is back as Dickey drops to the end zone to pass. No good. Intended for John Jefferson, but no chance.
Well, I'm really surprised that Pleco is still in the game. He shouldn't be in there. He's got a bad leg. You'd think they'd give him a rest and get him ready for the playoffs, but he's still in there.
Ray Stackowitz will be asked to kick it out of the end zone. The line of scrimmage is the 8-yard line, and they're going wild at Shea Stadium. Boy, what an incredible year. The Giants and the Jets, who started off so slowly, on their way to playoffs.
And I talked to Ray Perkins after the game yesterday, and of course he was very excited about the fact they won the game. Said they had done everything they possibly could. Now it's up to the New York Jets. They'd be pulling for them. And of course now he's got to be very happy about what's happened here this afternoon.
Stackowitz will get it away. Bruce Harper standing at the 48-yard line. To the 45. Still on his feet to the 40. And then he runs into trouble, and they drop him at the 38. Guy Prather, number 51, was down there to make the hit for Green Bay. So the Jets leading 21-3 with 5.5 minutes. You know, we mentioned the fumbles late in the game. McNeil and Kaufman and Long. Although it has not been that startling a game, there have been 7 turnovers. And talking about turnovers, there's the ratio, the comparison for each team last year and this. And you can see a remarkable turnabout for both teams, particularly for Green Bay, but it didn't help them today. So Todd in excellent field position at the 39. Play action fake to Durkin, and Todd going deep all alone. Wesley Walker. Couldn't even get close to him.
You know, and Walker caught the bottom half of the football that time. It really did. It was almost halfway through, and he caught the tip of it. A beautiful catch by Walker. Harvey had no chance whatsoever. Ran right by him. Boy, with terrific speed and a great-looking play. A play-action pass thrown by Richard Todd.
It's interesting, too. I think the football world looked at this game thinking of James Lofton and John Jefferson. Instead, it has been Wesley Walker and Lamb Jones, who have connected on the electrifying play.
Yes, and you talk about electrifying. You talk lightning right and lightning left. Boy, those two guys can really fly.
Of course, Walker has been out with a calf injury. Lamb Jones, they felt, at least some people felt, was a little slow in developing, but professional people didn't think so. And now they both hook up for magnificent scoring plays, and it is 28-3 in favor of the Jets. Talk about feeling no cold. So we have 5:25 left in the game. And for Bart Starr and his hard-working team, a dismal day. The best shot was not good enough. Turdell Middleton and Mike McCoy deep, and you had a close-up of Turdell Middleton. Pat Leahy will tee it up. There's Mike McCoy, number 29. So McCoy and Middleton, the deep men. 5:25 left in the game. 28-3 in favor of the Jets. Coming up is Middleton to take it at the 12, to the 20, to the 25, to the 30. And down he goes at about the 32.
Again, on those playoff tickets, they will go on sale tomorrow morning. And here's a special.
Well, we have a moment, a reminder tonight on CBS 60 Minutes. Archie Bunkers plays one day at a time. Alice, the Jeffersons, and then Trapper John, M.D. It's all tonight right here on CBS. So the Packers have 5 minutes left. They're down 28-3, and they have it 1st and 10 on their own 32. Jefferson and Kaufman are left. Lofton is right. Ellis and Huckabee are the running backs. And he'll go to Ellis. And Ellis across the 40 to the 45 and out to the 48-yard line. A murmur of protest considering the time left in the game.
And Kenny Neal is playing the in possession for Klecko at this time, with 4:52 left in the contest.
1st and 10 on the Packer 48. The pass is caught by John Jefferson. He's at the Jets 35 to the 30 and goes down at the 29. So Jefferson hooks up, and the Pack has it 1st and 10, starting on their own 32. They've moved it to the Jets 29-yard line with 4:27 left in the game. 28-3 New York. Lofton left, Kaufman, and Jefferson right. And Dickey deep, no good, and the man who almost caught it was Lance Mel, number 56, who went up in the air, had his hands on it, but couldn't hold it. Mel has come back nicely from a severe concussion in the Seattle game. By the way, in a note of history, the last game played at Metropolitan Stadium in Bloomington. You know, next year they go indoors, the Hubert Humphreys Arena. And in the final game at Metropolitan, Kansas City beat Minnesota 10-6. And for the first time in his coaching career in the NFL, Bud Grant's team has lost 5 in a row. What a way to finish the year for Minnesota. 2nd and 10 from the 29. Dickey for Kaufman. No good. Kaufman getting a lot of coverage. Kenny Schroy was there to hit him, and at the same time Johnny Lynn was in there, number 29, playing with a bad neck.
Yeah, they're playing with 5 defensive backs, which is very obvious, and he had a chance to make the catch, but there was heavy traffic.
And of course, for people in the New York area, Jets playoff tickets go on sale tomorrow, December 21st at 8 a.m. at the advanced ticket window right here at Shea Stadium. Boy, that's an announcement I'm sure even the wildest Jet fan wouldn't believe possible earlier this year. 3rd and 10 on the Jets 29. Dickey for Lofton, no good. He tried to make a one-hand catch, and James couldn't hold on to it.
And Walt Michaels and his fine coaching staff got a lot of abuse early in the season. They deserve a lot of credit for the way this team has come back and played the rest of the season.
Heartiest congratulations to Walt, who of course is known for his great career with the Cleveland Browns, but briefly was with the Green Bay Packers and was traded back to Cleveland for a name that it's synonymous with the Packers, Forrest Gregg. 4 minutes left. And it's 4th and 10 for Dickey and the hard-pressed Packers, 28-3 Jets. Dickey under a rush, and down he goes. Coming in a hurry was Abdul Salam and Marty Lyons, but it was Salam, the soldier of peace, who came in to deck him, and that would be the 8th sack. They've had 8 sacks 3 other times this year, twice against New England. They had 8 sacks against Houston, and of course they're high. They had 9, as we mentioned earlier, against the Giants. That gives them 65 sacks, 2 behind Oakland.
And you talk about Dickey being under the rush that time. He literally went under the rush. They went right over the top of him. He fell to the turf, but it was another sack.
So the exchange quite delighted with itself. 1st and 10 on the Jets 37. Lamb Jones in motion to the left. Todd going straight ahead. There'll be no tricks now. And of course, for Richard Todd, a fellow who struggled trying to make Jets fans forget Joe Namath and Al Darrow, it has been a tremendous year. He's had a bad ankle, a bad shoulder, he's had bad ribs, and he has fought his way and piloted his Jets team back. And our heartiest congratulations to Richard Todd and the members of the Green.
He felt that he matured an awful lot this year. I think they also felt very strongly about the fact that Joe Walton has made an outstanding contribution from an offensive viewpoint. But it's been a combination of a lot of things, but regardless what it is, the Jets have done a super job.
From the 38, it is 2nd and 9, and they'll stay on the ground at Durking, and Durking maybe gets back to the line of scrimmage and falls forward for a yard. We're down to 3 minutes and 7 seconds. This well bundled up sellout crowd on its feet, not just for warmth. They want to burn off a little extra enthusiasm. It has really been the Jets all day. At no time today did you get the feeling that the Packers could handle the Jets' thrust defensively, nor could they handle the Jets' offensive line when they were on defense.
Yeah, just one of those days. It was a no-contest game for the Green Bay Packers right from the very beginning. They got in trouble early and stayed in trouble for the entire afternoon.
And of course, that's a tough break for the Pack. They had come in here having won 6 of their last 7.
Todd looks a little heavier on the waist. He isn't. That's a flak jacket he's wearing for protection for the ribs.
Kevin Long is brought down by Rich Wingo as he got to the 40-yard line and rolled forward to the 41. Time called with 2 minutes and 20 seconds left in the game. Green Bay calling the timeout. But the New York Jets are on top of the world with 2:20 to go. The Jets leading the Packers 28-3. The preceding message was furnished by the National Football League. The theme song, New York, New York, town that never sleeps. And if you're not sleeping tonight, be right with us at CBS, starting with 60 minutes. Ready to punt now for the Jets. Deep is Fred Nixon standing on the Packer 18-yard line with 2:20 left. A high snap, but Ramsey gets it away. It's a short kick. It'll hit at the 40-yard line. Rolling to the 35 and to the 34, where it is down by New York, and that's where the Pack will put it in play. 1st and 10 from their own 34-yard line. Two minutes and 9 seconds left in the game. The Jets scored 7 in the first quarter and 14 in the second quarter, while the Packers could only muster a field goal from Jan Stenerud. So it was 21-3 Jets. It was a scoreless third quarter, and the Jets scored in the fourth quarter, 28-3. There were 2 electrifying scoring passes, 55 yards to Lamb Jones and 35 to John Jefferson. Wesley Walker making the big reception in the Jets end zone. And the story has been all the Jets. Ellis staying in the block, and he still can't do it. Down he goes. Neal, number 77, and Rudolph, 76. They're the backup men for the sack exchange. That's the 9th sack. That equals the 9 that they had against the New York Giants. And with 9 sacks today, that gives them 66. They're just one back of Oakland's 67, and there's 2 minutes left. With 2 minutes left in the game, we can now tell you that the NFC wild card game will be right here on CBS next Sunday between the New York Giants versus the Philadelphia Eagles in Veterans Stadium, Philadelphia. The pregame show will be on the air at 3 and kick off at 3:30. The AFC wild card game, the Buffalo Bills versus the New York Jets, right here, and that'll be 12:30 Eastern time from Shea. Second down for the Pack. Dickey throwing to Lofton, and he can't hold it. James Lofton unable to hold on to it. By the way, friends, tonight on 60 Minutes, Mike Wallace interviews Nancy Reagan, and for the first time, the Polish government tells its story of the crisis in that country. That's tonight on CBS. Flecko, Lyons, Salam, Gastineau, and now Neal and Rudolph are in there. 9 sacks for the Jets. Third and 16 from the 27. Complete to Lofton, making the reception at the 35-yard line with 1 minute and 46 left and time running out. Meanwhile, a final score, the first time Detroit loses at home all year. They lose the biggest game of the year.
And what a time to lose it, huh?
Dickey to Kaufman, and Kaufman can't hold on to it. So Tampa Bay wins a divisional championship in the NFC Central as they knock off Detroit. And here delirium has set in with 1 minute and 25 left. The Jets have locked it up 28-3.
And Green Bay has had to play catch-up football all afternoon. Dickey has thrown 33 times, completed only 12 for a total of 98 yards.
By the way, in talking about the Jets game coming up next week, we have to correct the time. That time with Buffalo, a 12 o'clock Eastern game, the AFC wildcard game. Richard Todd taking no chances, and the clock running down. So our heartiest congratulations to Walt Michaels and the Jets. Condolences, of course, to Bart Starr and the Packers. We have a minute left. A delirious one side and a downcast other. The story here at Shea.
I know this is a tough finish, but I still think Bart Starr and his coaching staff did a super job under the circumstances of the season. They had some tough luck. They had some bad injuries. They came back and fought hard, won some games. And it's too bad they finished like they did there this afternoon, but they deserve a lot of credit for making their club hang in there like they have.
Talking about deserving a lot of credit, the 1981 New York Jets team has just set a Jets defensive mark. Can you imagine holding the Green Bay Packers total offense to 68 yards?
Incredible, and you have to give them a lot of credit for the great job that they did. Walt Michaels, his coaching staff, and of course the players.
So it is all over, just the formality of the seconds to tick away as Walt Michaels and the New York Jets, a team that started off 0-3, had won 10 of their last 13 with a tie, go on to defeat the Packers 28-3. Terry O'Neill, Charles Milton, our senior producer, Robert Stenner, our producer, Tony Verna, our director, Dr. Bob Woods.